Morning, everybody. It's great to see so many people here, and I trust that everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And we are happy to be back to report to you our second report on the PARC, the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Career. So, as you know, our students took this standardized test last year for the very first time. And this test, the PARC, is replacing the DC CAS. So last month, we announced the results for our high school students. And today, we want to review the results of our students in the 3rd through 8th grades. So before I talk about PARC, I want to just remind everybody of the great news that has come out of our public education experience over the last years of reform. We know that DC schools are on the rise. The number of students enrolled in our schools has increased for the 7th consecutive year. This is the 14th out of the 15th, in the 14 and 15 school year, the graduation rate for public school students has increased 4 percentage points over the previous year. And we continue to be, and very proud of being the fastest improving urban school district anywhere in the country, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP. So our administration is committed to building on this progress, accelerating reforms, but also raising the bar. And the PARC is an important component of those raised expectations. So despite our gains in recent years, we know that too many students are not college or work ready. So we need more rigorous assessment to understand where students are so that we can help them achieve the success that they deserve. DC CAS was a reasonable tool that served us well for a decade, but we know that we needed something more. So along with many other leading educational jurisdictions, the district launched PARC, a new, tougher, and more accurate assessment of our progress. And you're going to hear from our school leaders about the real difference between PARC and how we have been testing our children. So I'm going to stop talking and let our education leaders give the report on where we are with PARC for grades 3 through 8. But let me first acknowledge and thank them for their leadership, starting with Deputy Mayor Jennifer Niles, who has been working very hard this year with the whole team of education leaders you see before you, and also Chancellor Kaya Henderson, who just celebrated her 5th year as the Chancellor of DC Public Schools, our new State Superintendent of Education, Hansel Kang, who joined the Washington, D.C. from Tennessee, and has been has very definitely jumped into the job. The leader of the DC Public Charter School Board, or I should say its executive director, Scott Pearson, who's here. And I want to also acknowledge our colleague and friend who's been working very hard from the legislative side to make sure that we have all the tools we need to continue on a robust school reform effort in the district. And with that, I'd like to introduce the at-large council member who chairs the council's Committee on Education, David Grasso.
Well, I'll be brief. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your commitment to schools and to your commitment to making sure that this test is rolled out in a way that is best for all of our students. As you all know, the PARC was, as the mayor said, taken last year. We got the high school results last month, and now this is grades 3 through 8. So I don't think that there's a lot of surprises here. I think what we know is that this is a new level setting and a new place for us to really begin to hold everyone accountable and also be very honest about where our students are when it comes to college and career readiness. And as the chair of the Committee on Education, I look forward to continuing to working with the mayor and the mayor's team. I think she has put together a remarkable team who are here before us today, along with Scott Pearson, to move this in a direction that I think will make us all very proud. so that we ultimately have every single school in the District of Columbia performing at the highest level, so all of our students come out career and college ready. So with that, I'll turn the podium back over, but I wanted to just make sure you all knew I was here as a representative of the council supporting this effort as we move forward into this new era of really knowing the honest truth about where our students stand. Thank you.
We want to thank David for his hard work, and I know that we're going to give him a lot more hard work when we come up with ideas around public education. So with that, I'm going to turn over the remainder of the program to the Deputy Mayor, Jennifer Niles, who will give us some context, but also introduce our school leaders to address us.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's after Thanksgiving. People have a little turkey left in their tummy, but come on. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Great. It's really wonderful to be here. And as has already been said, this park announcement is a really important one. It's a level setting. It's our baseline. And we need to remember why it's important. So clearly being a baseline is important because while we, as the mayor said, that we had an exam that was good, park is much, much better. And in fact, today you're going to even see an example of a question so that you can begin to see the difference. Before I say a few more words, though, I just want to acknowledge we have a number of our State Board of Education members here. We have Jack Jacobson, our president. We have Mary Lord and Ruth Wattenberg, and also Joe Whedon. And so I just wanted to welcome them and say thank you for their leadership. We also have Darren Woodruff, who's the chair of the Public Charter School Board here, and he'll give a wave. Great. And then we actually have lots of LEA leaders here, including our chancellor up here, but we also have a number of folks who work for DCPS and then a number of charter schools in the room. So I just want to give them a round of applause, too. Because as you might have guessed, having a new assessment is terrific, but where does all the work reside? The work resides with our kids, with our teachers, with our administrators, and with all of the people who surround them to make sure that the test is administered well. But I think most importantly about this test is that it aligns to what our teachers have been teaching. We needed a new and higher bar about what kids needed to learn and be able to know and be able to do, and that's our Common Core state standards. And this test is aligned to that. And so it's really important. Certainly it's important for our students, but our students in our baseline year, unfortunately, it's not the most useful data that they're going to get. In years to come, they're going to see their growth, and they're going to also see their scores increase. For teachers, however, and for school leaders, this test is rich with information, both about the efficacy of what they taught their students so that they can see how well they did, as well as the recent release of new information so that they can be continuing to get their curriculum aligned to this really rich and deep assessment. As we know, we don't want to teach to the test unless the test is really, really good. And there, I don't say we're teaching to the test, but it is aligned with everything that we're teaching, and I'm really pleased about that. So this morning, you're going to hear a little bit more. First, I'm going to introduce Hansul Kang, who is our State Superintendent of Education here at the Office of the State Superintendent of Education. And she's going to run through the specifics with you. And then we'll get to hear from our other two educational leaders up on the panel. So, Hansul.
Thank you very much for all being here today. As the mayor and deputy mayor and councilmember Grasso have said, we shared our high school results last month, and we're pleased to be able to share the elementary and middle school results with you all today. DC students and students in 11 other states took the PARCC assessment for the first time in the 14-15 school year. And the required assessments in DC were English language arts / literacy and math in grades 3 to 8, and the English 2 and geometry or integrated math 2 assessment in high school. And so we'll be reporting out today on the grades 3 to 8 results. We are today releasing the statewide results. Those are the results that I will speak to specifically here in these slides, which include the DCPS and public charter schools all together in those DC-wide results that I will be sharing right now. And then Kaya Henderson and Scott Pearson will be speaking a little bit more to each sector's results. We will also have the school-level results available on our website after this event. So when we think about the problem that we were trying to address through this new assessment, what we were seeing was that across the country, too many of our students were doing well in high school, graduating, getting to post-secondary, but then finding themselves struggling and not prepared for that first-year coursework. They were either having to take remedial classes or just struggling generally. And so what we believe is that PARCC presents a fuller and more authentic picture of student learning and will help us better prepare our students for what they truly need to know to be ready for post-secondary education. To present a picture of that fuller and more authentic picture of learning, we wanted to present an example. And so if you think about this previous DC CAS question, it's a relatively simple word problem that requires adding and subtracting fractions. And while the text will be a little bit small, in the PARCC problem, in contrast, it's the same underlying skill of adding and subtracting fractions, but students are asked to look at another student's work attempting to solve a problem of adding and subtracting fractions and find where that student may have made an error, and then actually explain what that error was and solve the problem themselves. And so you can see that that requires a different level of thinking from our students and a different level of understanding the underlying concepts. On PARCC, there are 5 performance levels, ranging from level 1, did not yet meet expectations, through level 5, exceeded expectations. And levels 4 and 5 that are shaded in turquoise there, you can see, indicate that the students are on track for college and career readiness. So meeting or exceeding expectations indicates being on track for college and career readiness. Level 3 indicates being approaching expectations, approached expectations in the previous year. Level 2 shows partially met expectations. So in terms of how PARCC was administered in DC, 92% of DC students took PARCC online in the 2014-15 school year, which outpaced most other states. And then you can see there shown the number of test takers for each of the ELA assessments and the math assessments in each grade. And what you'll see is the number of test takers in each grade for ELA and math is quite similar until you get to the 7th and 8th grade tests. And the reason why there are fewer test takers in the 7th grade math test and 8th grade math test is that in those grades there are some students who are advanced and who are taking the Algebra 1 or geometry course tests because that was the course of study they were in. So in terms of the takeaways we see from the data, we see promising results, particularly at lower grades, and reasons for optimism. We also see that our advanced students are doing very well on those advanced math course tests that they were taking. And finally, we know that we have much more work to do, but because of those signs of optimism and because of what we've seen on DC CAS, we believe that our results will get better over time. In terms of our aggregate 3 to 8 results, we see that 25% of our students in this first year were on track for college and career readiness in grades 3 to 8 ELA, and another 24% approached expectations. In grades 3 to 8 math, we see that 24% of our students were on track for college and career readiness, and another 26% approached expectations. We'll now go into each subject's results in a little bit more detail. So first, the English language arts results. This next slide just shows the percentage of students who are on track for college and career readiness, scoring at levels 4 and 5 on the individual grades assessments. And so you can see that the percentage of students at that college and career ready level was pretty consistent across grades 3 to 8 in the English language arts test. This next slide shows the same information, but shows the percentage of students at each of the 5 performance levels for each grade level test, starting at level 1 at the bottom and going up to level 5 at the top. And again, you can see that the results are relatively consistent across the different grades, although there's a slightly higher number of students in level 1 in 3rd grade and in 7th and 8th grade. This next slide shows the 3 to 8 results by race and ethnicity. In the left column, you see the same data for all students that you've seen in the previous slides. The right 3 columns then show the results for our Black, Hispanic, and white students. And similarly as to our high school results, we see substantial gaps that exist along lines of race and ethnicity. 79% of our white students were on track for college and career readiness, compared with 17% of our Black students and 21% of our Hispanic students. This next slide shows the results for 3 to 8 ELA by special population. So you can see that 4% of our students in special education were on track for college and career readiness, 12% of our English learners, 14% of our economically disadvantaged students, and 10% of our students who are at risk. So we know that we have much more work to do to support these students. Turning, though, to those reasons for optimism, what we see is that when we look at the students who either exceeded, met, or approached expectations in earlier grades, we see a higher portion of students in those three categories in grades 3 to 8 ELA than we did in high school ELA. And we also see fewer students in the level 1 category, which is farthest from the bar of meeting expectations. And so that gives us reason to believe that we will continue to see results improve over time. In the 3 to 8 math results, we see a slightly different picture. What we see here is that when looking at the students who took each grade level test, we see more students scoring at the 4 or 5 level, at the on track for college and career readiness level in the earlier grades, in 3rd and 4th grade in particular. And so we see the strength of the results of those students who have been receiving Common Core aligned instruction, who benefited from universal pre-K, and so much of the other work that has happened in the district over the last several years since the beginning of their schooling careers. This next slide shows the same results, but includes the 7th and 8th grade students who took advanced math tests on top of the regular 7th grade math test and 8th grade math test. And so you can see that, again, the 3rd and 4th grade results are the highest, but then they level off after 6th grade. The next slide shows the same data, but again shows all 5 performance levels for each of the grade level tests, as well as for Algebra 1 and Geometry. And we'll dig into those Algebra 1 and Geometry results a little bit more in a minute. This slide then shows the 3 to 8 math results by race and ethnicity, and we see similar gaps existing as we saw in the ELA results. This next slide shows the results by special population, and again, very similar gaps. Finally, this slide shows the 3 to 8 math results as compared with the high school results. And what we see is there are far more students who are on track for college and career readiness in grades 3 to 8 math as compared with the high school math test. 24% were on track for college and career readiness compared with 10% on the high school math. And when we include the students in the approached expectations category, we see that actually half of our students either approached, met, or exceeded expectations in grades 3 to 8 math, which is very encouraging. We also see, digging into those advanced math assessments for a minute, we see that our students, particularly those who were 2 years ahead of their peers, who were taking Algebra 1 in 7th grade and then Geometry in 8th grade, did particularly well on the advanced math assessments. Students who were taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade did well, but it was a closer result to what we saw in the other 3 to 8 results. Finally, just coming back to those takeaways again for a minute. Again, we see promising results at the lower grades, particularly in seeing a greater percentage of students who approached, met, or exceeded expectations in grades 3 to 8 as compared with high school, and particularly seeing the strong results in 3rd and 4th grade math. Our advanced students are also doing very well. But across the board, we have more work to do in supporting all of our students, and particularly students in particular groups who have struggled historically. But we believe that our results will get better over time as we provide that support, as our educators continue to align their practices to the more rigorous style of the Common Core state standards and the PARCC assessment, and as we all continue to provide more resources and support. Speaking of some of those resources, there are some important supports that are already in place. In DC, we provide at-risk funding to support our most vulnerable students. We've also had early and effective implementation of the Common Core state standards, as well as universal access to pre-kindergarten. And most importantly, there's the ongoing work of local education agencies and schools. There are also a number of pilot programs and new initiatives, and again, I think the most important of these are happening at the local level, but these are a few examples of work happening from the state level to better support our students. The community schools work to better meet the comprehensive needs of our students and their families. Early literacy grants in place this year to support early reading for our students. In an increased focus on quality and early childhood education in birth to 3 as well as in pre-kindergarten, and the DC STEM Network, which seeks to provide all of our students with rigorous opportunities to learn math and science. We've also included on our website at this page, ossie.dc.gov/park, a comprehensive set of resources for families, educators, and schools to understand park score reports and help support their students. And we continue to add to these resources over time. We also have on this page links to park-provided resources that include extensive released test items and samples of student work that provide everyone with a better picture of what was included on this new assessment. Finally, just to preview some resources that will be available next month in December, parents and families will be receiving individual student park score reports from their schools. So these reports for individual students will be mailed to the schools, and schools will send them home to families. Parents will also be able to view school-level park results on My School DC. They will be available today on our website in spreadsheet form, but they will be loaded on My School DC in December. The public will also have access to an interactive platform to view overall and subgroup results at the state, LEA, and school level. Again, the information will be released today in spreadsheet format, but the new interactive platform will make it easier for members of the public to access those results. And LEAs and schools will have access to student-level results by subcategory and will have options for providing additional access to educators. And then what's next in 2016? We will be providing educators with a login platform that allows them to drill down to classroom and individual student results. And the 2015-16 Park administration will be taking place this spring for grades 3 to 8 and high school. It'll be administered from March through May, and results will be available in summer 2016. The late release this year for the calendar year is just because it's the first year of a new assessment system. So the 2016 results will be available in the summer. So with that, I will conclude my presentation. In the appendix, you will see additional results for each test at the state and sector level, but I will now turn it over to my colleagues to talk a little bit more about their sector level results.
Chancellor Henderson, please come and join us at the podium.
Good morning. The scores that we are releasing today, along with the high school scores that we released last month, give us a full picture of both the successes that we've had and the challenges that we still face. I think these results reinforce the need to continue some of the strategies that we've been implementing, from higher standards to aligned curriculum and more, that have gotten us from the 23 or 25% that we started out with on a DC CAS in 2007. We're able to move that. This simply sets a new benchmark for us. I want to be clear about a few things. First, the park results are important, but they are one important measure of success. We also track a lot of other measures of success that are important to DC Public Schools and to all of our public schools. I also want to be clear that the park isn't really telling us anything that we don't already know. Some of the disparities are more pronounced on the exam, but we know we have disparities and a gap to close. But the overall message is consistent with what we've seen before and some of the things that we've put in place to address. So with that, let's look at the DCPS results. Overall, roughly a quarter of the students who took the 3rd through 8th grade test are on track for college and career. We know that this exam has set a higher standard, considerably higher than the standard by the DC CAS. But we also know that to have the greatest opportunity for success, we need to help more of our students reach this standard. This slide shows you by specialized subgroup what our results are looking at. And I'm committed to making sure that every student is ready for college and career, but our results show us what we've already known, that some of our groups of students need additional levels of support. We've long seen disparities in achievement across the district, and this test puts those disparities into clear focus. As many of you know, I'm concerned about the progress of our students of color, especially the young men, which is why we're investing in our Empowering Males of Color initiative and putting additional investments in our 40 lowest performing schools because we've seen them struggle mightily. I'm also super concerned about our special education achievement rates and our English learner achievement rates. Again, this isn't new news to us. We've already made some key investments to address these challenges. We've changed the focus of our special education to move beyond compliance to focus on outcomes, and we've organized ourselves to reflect this change. And we've created programs like the Internationals Academy to accelerate the success of our English learners who come to us in the upper grades. As we continue to focus on these populations, I expect that our results will continue to improve. She can keep talking, I guess. When you look at our results on a grade-by-grade basis, a similar picture to what you saw at the state level emerges. On English language arts, we see that about a quarter of our students are meeting or exceeding expectations at every grade level. This consistency, I think, is a tribute to the work that we've done focusing on literacy in recent years. However, still far too few of our students are successful, and we have a lot of work to do to ensure that more of our students are performing at the highest levels. That's why we developed a Common Core aligned curriculum, created the Cornerstones initiative to ensure that every student across the city gets the same caliber of learning experiences. We've expanded our library services, and we've invested in our middle schools. On math, we see a slightly different story, but again, similar to the state. We have the greatest percentage of students who are on track at the early grades, and that number decreases over time. Among students who took the 8th grade test, only 3% were on track. However, this doesn't paint a clear picture of student outcomes. Like at the state level, we give many 7th and 8th graders the opportunity to take algebra and geometry, and so those students take that exam. When you include all 7th graders and 8th graders, including those who took algebra or the geometry test, 16% and 24% of our students respectively are on track. It's a better outcome, but it's still not good enough. As I said in the beginning, these are important results, but they're not surprising, and they shouldn't overshadow some of the other metrics of student success that we've seen. We know that we have a long way to go to make sure that every student in every school is ready for a bright future. But we also know, because our data tells us, that we're on the right track for success. With ever-increasing graduation rates, increased AP participation and success, nation-leading gains on the NAEP, increasing enrollment, and improving student satisfaction, we are confident that we have the right ingredients for success. We have a lot of work to do to help all of our students reach their full potential, but the strategies that we're employing are the right ones. The list of initiatives that we've put in place to help our students succeed is a long one, but I want to highlight a couple of them for you today. First, we're making sure that every student receives high-quality lessons across the curriculum, from reading and math to PE and art. Through our Cornerstones initiative, we're making it easier for teachers to challenge their students. No longer are we relying on every single teacher to be able to figure out how to challenge their students in the highest way possible. We're helping teachers do that through an alignment of lessons that every student across the city in a DCPS school will experience. And that is an equity driver, plain and simple, because even while we have a great Common Core aligned curriculum, we know that sometimes people's expectations for our young people vary. And through the Cornerstones initiative, we can begin to erase some of that expectation gap and provide all of our young people with substantive, challenging, engaging lessons. Secondly, many of you know we've made large investments in our teachers. We have some of the highest paid teachers in the region. We provide them with lots of feedback and more help than a lot of other districts. Going forward, we still have more work to do. One of the things that our teachers are saying to us is, we love this Common Core aligned curriculum. We get the standard that we're trying to get our young people to meet, but we need more help. Some of us need help in accessing a deeper level of math content that we're now expecting for our young people. And so we will continue to invest in teacher professional development so that each and every one of our teachers feels like they are equipped to help our young people meet these much higher standards. And finally, we know that our students just need more, especially many of our struggling students. More hours in a day, more days in a year, more targeted supports, more wraparound services. And we'll provide all of that moving forward. So, people, Councilmember Grasso said to me, so what do you think about these? And I was like, well, I'm not up, I'm not down. We knew that this was coming. But I am buoyed by the fact that, we look at data, we set clear goals and strategies around how we're going to move that data. And we have a track record at DCPS now of actually moving students, progressing them. When we set out to move CAS scores, nobody thought we could ever come out of the 20s. And we got up into the 50s, which is great. And my teachers and my educators know that they have the tools and the resources and the capacity to do this. So we're going to continue to find new ways to support them. We're going to continue to find ways to support our young people. And this is just a new goal that we've got to achieve for every student in every classroom in DCPS. I'm excited by the challenge. We are DCPS and we can do this. We faced these challenges before and we've succeeded. So I expect the same from our future park results. Thank you.
Scott Pearson, Executive Director of the Public Charter School Board, please come join us.
Thank you and good morning. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Niles, Chairman Grasso, thank you. Darren Woodruff, thank you very much for coming to this, our board chair. And thank you to the members of the State Board of Education for joining us. As we acknowledged during the release of the high school park results a month ago, this year's results set a baseline from where we will improve. What we know now is that about a quarter of our children are at or exceeding standards, and about another quarter are approaching these standards. While there's no question at all that these represent tremendous improvement over where we would have been 5 years ago, we also know that we have a long way to go, and we're committed to that challenge. The results also show that DC public charter schools, on the whole, continue to outpace the district in most of these results. And I point that out not to thump our chest, and I also do so with the full knowledge that public charter schools aren't strictly comparable to public schools of right. But it's important to highlight this performance because it shows that public charter schools are fulfilling their promise of delivering results for DC's families. These results are due to the hard work of teachers, staff, and leaders at the public charter schools located throughout the district. And to honor that work, we invited representatives of the 24 public charter schools where the percentage of students who met or exceeded expectations, that is, scoring a 4 or 5, in both ELA and math, exceeded the district-wide average. And would those representatives please stand now? I'd like to give them an applause. And we'll see some of their results in a moment. So there's a lot of detailed results in your packet and more on our website, but I want to highlight some of the key results. So first of all, overall park achievement, the scores in black are the public charter schools, and then the scores in red are for the district as a whole. 25% of students met expectations and above, the same as the district, and in English, and 26% in math, slightly higher than the district. By race, in English language arts, 21% met expectations and above versus 17% of the district. 22% of Hispanics met expectations and above versus 21% of the district. 80% of whites met expectations and above. In math, I think that's an error. It was 22% of African Americans met expectations and above versus 17% of the district. 21% of Hispanics, same as the district, and 71% of whites. By subgroup, economically disadvantaged students, 18% in English language arts met expectations and above versus 14% of the district. And in math, 20% met expectations and above versus 15% in the district. Among our English language learners, we did not do as well. 11% met expectations, less than the 12% in the district. And in math, just 13% met expectations and above versus 17% of the district. As my colleague, Chancellor Henderson, said, we have a long way to go with our special education students, and this shows that starkly. Just 5% in English language arts and 6% in math met expectations and above. And then with at-risk students, this is a new definition in the district. It's students who are on welfare, on food stamps, who are homeless, or who are foster. About 50% of the students at both DC public schools and DC charter schools are at risk. It's an important measure. It's a deeper level of poverty and family stress than the traditional economically disadvantaged number. And what we see is that 15% of our students met expectations and above who are at risk in English language arts versus 11% of the district, and 17% in math versus 12% of the district. We also want to highlight our schools who did better than the district average in both English language arts and math, ranked from highest performance on the PARCC test. So I'll just read through these quickly. Washington Latin Middle School, Basis Public Charter School, DC Preps Edgewood Elementary, Washington Yu Ying, Latin America Montessori Bilingual, DC Preps Edgewood Middle, Inspired Teaching, Roots, Two Rivers, KIPP, Creative Minds, Elsie Whitlow Stokes, DC Preps Benning School, DC International, William E. Dorr Jr., E.L. Haynes' Middle School, DC Bilingual, KIPP's Promise Academy, Mundo Verde, Eagle Academy, Achievement Prep, Center City, Friendship Woodridge, E.L. Haynes Elementary, KIPP Key, Hope, Lamond, KIPP Will, and Excel Dream. Those were the top performing charter schools in ELA. And then in math, KIPP Lead, KIPP Promise, DC Prep Middle, Washington Yu Ying, Basis, DC Prep Edgewood Elementary, DC Prep Benning Middle, Washington Latin, KIPP Heights, DC Prep Benning Elementary, Mundo Verde, Eagle, New Jersey Avenue, Friendship Woodridge, Latin America Montessori Bilingual, KIPP Key, Eagle, Inspired Teaching, Two Rivers, Community Academy Online, Achievement Prep, Middle, Center City, E.L. Haynes, DC International, Elsie Whitlow Stokes, E.L. Haynes Middle, Friendship Chamberlain, DC Scholars, Roots, DC Bilingual, Creative Minds, KIPP Will, Achievement Prep Elementary, Friendship Southeast, KIPP Quest, and Howard University Middle School. Can we give all those schools a round of applause? We're proud of the hard work of our school leaders. We're proud of the successes they've shown, and we're ready for the challenge going forward. Thank you very much.
Great. If people have questions, we'd be happy to take them. And thank you to Kaya and Scott for sharing those results. Yes?
I got an email from Eric Martell, who is a former DC public school teacher. One of the things he brought up that I thought was kind of interesting, for both the charters and public schools, there seemed to be fewer young people who were taking the test than were officially enrolled. What's the reason for that disparity, particularly in English and math?
Let me see if we have the participation rates at our fingertips. The participation rates in DC for PARCC were much higher than for many other states. And I'm going to actually turn to Superintendent Kang. I think that she may have more specific information.
We haven't finalized a specific participation. We have not yet finalized the specific participation rates, but we'd be happy to get back to you with that information. We have not seen significant challenges that some of the other states have seen with participation. So as the Deputy Mayor said, we had not experienced that during the test administration.
You're saying there's no significant difference between the enrollment and the numbers taking the tests?
So we would be glad to get back to you on that specifically, but we did not see that as a significant issue during the administration period.
What does significant mean?
So again, we will be glad to get back to you all with the specific numbers. During the test administration window, though, we did not hear reports from local education agencies or schools of challenges with test participation.
Excuse me, I don't understand. Are you telling us you know how many people took the test, but you don't know how many didn't take the test?
I'm saying that we would be glad to get back to you.
You have to get back to us. That's what we don't
I don't think
understand.
she has the number, Tom. Do
Thank
we
you,
have the
Mayor.
number of test participants?
We don't have the specific calculation on hand, but we would be glad to get back to you all with that.
But you have the number of people who took the test, which is why it's baffling. If you know how many took the test, then why don't you know how many didn't take the test?
We'd be glad to get back to you later today.
Yeah, let me just, I think that where Sam started the question was, because I know in other states there have been reports that families are opting out of testing, and we don't see, just kind of on a gross level, any evidence that families in the district are opting out of testing. So let's be precise about the number of people who took the test and the number of people who didn't. If we can get it for you, somebody go find it.
Is there conditions under which people would not be taking the test? I know, for example, she discussed young people that were in, I guess, advanced classes wouldn't be considered. Other than that, particularly for English, why would there be a disparity?
So under federal law, states are required to administer annual tests in math and reading in grades 3 to 8 and at least once in high school. In DC, that has meant that students are taking math and reading tests in each grade 3 to 8. And if you're in 7th and 8th grade and in an advanced math course, you might take a different test than your peers, but it doesn't mean you're not taking a test.
English.
Yes, and in English, testing is required in each year, grades 3 to 8.
Why would there be a disparity? That's what I'm asking. Is there any
So
reason
each
you
year
could
we
opt
say-
out, or what would be?
So each year, we see that some students are absent on the day of testing for a variety of reasons, just as they may be absent on any other day. Federal law requires a 95% participation rate in each test.
So did you get that 95% participation rate?
So again, we will get back to you later today.
We have no indication that we're below that 95%. Every year we've been above the percentage required by the federal government. We'll get you the specifics very shortly. While other states, as the mayor has said, have had trouble with opting out, that's not something that we faced here in DC. And the few reasons that school students might not be counted would be is that they're sick, but not just sick for one day, because all the schools had makeup periods. And so they made every effort to make sure that every student took the test.
Sorry, just to add one more point, and again, we will get back to you all with the specific calculations later today, but one of the reasons in our accountability business rules, as with most states, we consider students who are enrolled for the full academic year. So those who are enrolled at the time of the enrollment count in October and are still enrolled at the time of testing. So that is one reason why, because there is significant mobility in the district, why their scores may not have been included in the results reported today.
So piggybacking on Mr. Martell's email that we all got, and which we sent, I sent to DCPS and to OSSE this morning before this, asking for answers to these questions even before this press briefing. But he also points out that no 10th graders why did 10th graders not take this test?
We gave the results for 10th grade 3 weeks ago.
High schoolers.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the 10th graders are.
And then he again also points out this dropout rate between 9th and 10th graders that he gave us some figures. Are these accurate for DCPS? 33% of students who were in the 9th grade did not matriculate to the 10th grade, and in charter schools I think the number was in the 20-some% range. Does that sound correct to you?
I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but I can get you those numbers. We actually see, and you've seen it in all of our truancy statistics and whatnot, that we have a significant number of 9th grade repeaters. So 2 years ago, only 50-some% of our 9th graders, our first-time 9th graders, were promoting to the 10th grade with the appropriate amount of credits. We're now up to 70-something%, but we can get you those numbers in a short time.
So if they didn't go to 10th grade, does that mean they might have gone to a private school, or does that mean they just dropped out of school?
Neither. It means they stayed right where they were.
Unless they were repeaters, I get that.
That's the vast majority of what happens to our young people, yeah.
I was looking at those numbers, and it started 3rd grade, and it just went down 4th grade, to 8th grade. What kind of line is that? What is the reason for that, or what are people saying is the reason for that decline in math?
So I think that one of the challenges, I mean, I will tell you, I have spent a lot of time on fourth grade math problems over the last couple of weeks because I have a fourth grader. And the complexity of these problems is pretty significant. Whereas we would ask young people to create a solution that usually involved one step or maybe two, now the math problems are asking you to solve 4 different types of problems and then come to a conclusion about it. And so we just have a lot of, I mean, we as a country struggle with math phobia, right? We've got to get over that. We just have to help our young people really begin to master some of the mathematic fundamentals that they didn't have to master before. You didn't have to know your times tables the way I had to know my times tables when I was in the 3rd grade, right? And this is requiring you to not just know your times tables, but to be able to manipulate them in 3 different ways before you get to an answer. So we have a lot, as I mentioned earlier, we have some teachers who are like, look, I need more shoring up in math. And we've got a lot more work to do in terms of making sure that our math curriculum is rising to that level of complexity. I literally was going through my 4th graders' homework and I was like, geez Louise, we didn't have this kind of stuff till 7th and 8th grade, but we're asking now our 4th graders to do this kind of work, and they can do it. We just need to build their stamina. We just need to build the teacher content knowledge, and we need to continue to press forward on the curriculum.
Students aren't being just turned off by school. That was the question I had. The older they get, are they just more turned off? Or?
So I think that to some extent happens, right? I was a middle school teacher, and, you know, when kids get to middle school, their hormones explode, and they're a little moody, and when they get to be teenagers, sometimes they're even more challenging. Not all, some. But I do think that part of it is we are just requiring a lot more and more difficult work. That being said, I was sort of amazed at this park, the feedback that we heard from students around this park administration. So lots of them said, this was really hard, but I liked it, right? And it mirrors what students said to me at my budget hearing. We're not being challenged enough. The work is not hard enough. These babies know that we've not been selling them the full education that they need to be prepared for college. And so I think they're up to the occasion. We just, as adults, have to work harder and faster.
I think the only other thing that I would add is that seeing higher math scores in the younger years, I think, is a very promising thing, because those are the students who have had Common Core aligned curriculum for the longest. And so in some ways, I think that that bodes very well, because those 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, they're going to keep getting better and better and better in math. And so that, to me, suggests that having that Common Core aligned rigorous curriculum from an early age, really, it's building on each other and to make the success happen. So, yes.
Just a couple of questions from me. When I look at the, both looking at the high school scores and looking at now the elementary scores, middle school scores, it appears that what you do have in common with Cass is that some of the same schools are really at or below, or at the bottom of the rating. And so I have to ask, what is happening? Why aren't these schools showing any progress when we've dumped a bunch of at-risk money, and how is that at-risk money being used then in these particular schools?
Well, first, I would say that it probably doesn't surprise us that if the schools had low CAS scores, that they would probably likely have low PARCC scores. That's not unusual. In terms of what we're doing, I'll ask for the chancellor to speak about that, and then if Scott wants to mention a few things, because they're leading those LEAs.
So, I mean, I think, I think that to be really clear and to be very honest, some of our lowest performing schools continue to be low performing because they face tremendous challenges. We see not just in DC, but across the country, that schools that have high concentrations of poverty have tremendous obstacles to overcome in terms of getting kids to academic success. Now, the good news is we have some clear examples of schools that were in the lowest 40 that have moved up. But I can't tell you that I'm satisfied across the board with the progress that we're making in our lowest 40. You look at great schools like Kelly Miller or Drew, who've seen tremendous progress and were previously in the bottom. And so we've asked ourselves, what is it that they do? What is it that our schools that are overcoming, how are they overcoming? And it's a couple of things. One is school climate and culture. It matters tremendously. And so when you have the ability to really focus on a group of kids, teach a school culture and ensure a climate that is consistent, right, then the ability to instruct becomes much easier. But if you have schools where they're constantly in motion or they're constantly chaotic, either through student mobility or teacher mobility, then your chances of improving are significantly less. So climate and culture, one is also the caliber of teacher that you have in those schools. And so we've done some things to try to incentivize our highest performing teachers to teach in our lowest performing schools. But it's tough. You have a much more significant compensation incentive if you're able to be successful in our lowest performing schools. But we have teachers who aren't willing to take that chance. And so we have to figure out what is it that's going to help us retain some of our highest performing teachers that are in those schools, build the critical mass of them, but also grow the teachers that are in those schools. I think the third piece that we know is many of our young people literally who just are not up to grade level need more time. They need more time, and we've seen in schools where we've had extended day, we're starting to see in the program where we're piloting extended year, that given more opportunities to work with our young people, and not just academic work, enrichment work, arts, those kinds of things, where we're able to build relationships with young people and help them with the things that they're struggling with, then we get more progress. And so I think expecting the same thing out of our most struggling schools with the same set of resources, even with at-risk funds, right? They are absolutely helpful, and they're allowing our struggling schools to take on some really challenging issues. But I don't know any school district in the country that has, radically moved concentrations of significant poverty in quick in short order. And so we're committed to it because it's not okay if some of our schools are doing great and others of our schools are not. And so we're going to continue to work on cracking this nut.
Any further press questions?
I was just going to respond to your question about that. One of the things that we're really proud about with our charter schools is that when we look across our very best charter schools, they're not just concentrated in more affluent areas. There are many of our what we call our Tier 1 charter schools that are in Ward 7, in Ward 8, in high poverty areas around the city. And certainly when you look at the list of schools that we presented that have results that are significantly higher than the district average, they are all over the city in some of our poorest neighborhoods, serving some of our poorest children. And so to us, they show that that success is possible with any child.
Just one question. With respect to charter schools outperforming the public, is it too simplistic to say that if charters were just allowed to grow, we'd see better results?
You're asking the one of the right people. Come.
Actually, you're.
Let's start with this answer. They're all public schools. Okay, so
Yep.
DC taxpayers pay for every one of these schools that we're talking about.
And we have a unique mix in DC, unique among the country, where 44% of our students attend public charter schools and 56% DCPS. And that mix is important for our city to have. And so unlike other cities, we have some that have a larger percentage of charter schools as a percentage of the whole public school sector. We've seen the growth rate of charters as a percentage of the whole enrollment grow over time, but the last couple of years it has maintained more of a stable, and we see a distinct important role for DCPS and a distinct important role for public charter schools.
I have one question.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about the cohort of pre-K students who came in under Michelle Rhee and Henderson in that first group. Do you see that as being an impact on the scores that you're seeing in the 3rd and 4th grade? Because I think that cohort has matured to that level. Am I wrong on that?
That's a great, thank you for adding that, because I think that those first years are our 3rd, 4th, 5th graders now, and you see that they are doing better in math in elementary school than we see for the older students.
Mark, did you have a question?
Yeah, Mayor Bowser, for you, I have to say, someone who's watched this over the years, we've seen this before. Incremental improvements, small improvements, but overall, the vast majority of students now 3 through 8th in high school are not prepared to go on to the next level of education or to go out into the workplace. What do you say, to parents who are thinking about moving here, putting their kids into public schools, where the vast majority, particularly if you're either disadvantaged or not white, are probably set up for failure? And then what do you say to employers who are who want to come to the district, but their employees will have trouble deciding where to put their kids in school, and then there's just not the workforce that has the education level to fill the jobs that they need?
Well, actually, Mark, what I know there is a lot there, and what I continue to say to them is that this district has the most robust commitment to changing our schools than any place that I've seen anywhere in the country, and so we have a talented group of school leaders. We have the support of DC taxpayers to make the necessary investments to change our schools, and we have seen a pretty dramatic change in the 8 years that we have been involved in school reform. We also tell them that we have, in some jurisdictions, haven't been willing to step back and say, we're going to ask the hard questions. We're going to change the test so we know exactly where we are. And so now we have a new baseline so that we can make sure we have prepared teachers, we have the resources that we need to educate the children so that when they make it to college and work, they have the skills that they need. What we tell employers, and employers want to continue to come to the district because we do have one of the most highly educated workforces anywhere in the country, and they recognize that. They also recognize that we have been willing to do what it takes to achieve school reform, and that we're going to continue to do that. So the things that the chancellor mentioned is going to require all of us to step up to the plate again. We know that our schools, all of our schools, need to have the flexibility to meet children where they are. Sometimes that may mean that children need more time in school, and so we're going to have to be willing to discuss that. We want all of the school leaders, whether they're DCPS or public charter schools, to be able to have the flexibility to meet communities where they are. And so all of those things will continue to be important to us. And to the point of how do we move our most struggling students in schools that have been the most struggling for some time, the chancellor is right to say that we're going to need, in some cases, some different interventions. That's why we've been so focused on empowering males of color and what that's going to mean for boys in our system. So I think the bottom line for us is that we didn't get to be the fastest improving school district because we were going to shy away from the challenges before us. And parents, to your point, are voting with their feet. They're confident that this school district on both sectors is committed to making the improvements and interventions that their children need. That's why they continue to want to move to the district, and that's why they continue to choose our public schools. Yes, please.
So, yeah, I just want to say to Mark that I don't think that this one score on the park tells parents that kids can't graduate successfully from DCPS or DC public charter schools. In fact, every single day we're graduating young people who go on to some of the best colleges and universities in the country, and we have great partners who help support them. Even if they're going not prepared, we've been able to make arrangements with colleges and universities. We have partners like DC CAP who support our young people because we're going to see them through. In fact, parents see something different happening in both public charter schools and in DCPS, which is why for the last couple of years we've seen radical radical increases in enrollment. I think parents understand that we're not where we want to be, but they're willing to hold our hands and work with us as we get there. And that's how school districts and school systems make significant change. In fact, people were walking away from the city, right? People were walking away from the public education system in the city, and that's no longer the case. And so we should be sobered by the results that are happening on the park, but we should by no means be ashamed or embarrassed. Our employers are standing with us to train our young people. More of them will go directly into the job market as a result of the partnerships that we're making. And again, at some point, the business community had given up on us. And so, to be really frank, I actually think that parents should continue to be hopeful. They should know that we'll continue to press the pedal to the metal and deliver, that employers actually see something different and want to work with us to train and employ our young people also says that there's a different level of confidence in the public education system. And I think that's in part because of what the council and the mayor have done in terms of making these investments. I said on somebody's radio station this morning, like, it takes a long time and people want us to flip a switch and everybody is going to be off to Harvard. That's not how it happens. But we're working really hard every single day, and more young people have a better chance every single day, and we'll get there.
I have one question about special education.
Sure.
Would you tell a parent whose child needs special education services to enroll in a DC school when the scores are, I mean, they're single digits and they're low single digits at that? I mean, when we talk about not being ashamed or not being embarrassed, I mean, would you agree with that?
I would agree that we have a lot of work to do to better serve families in our public schools, in all of our public schools.
I'm talking particularly about special education.
I am
because,
too.
Okay.
I am too. And I'm especially saying that we have a lot more work to do. For so long, I think it was almost the expectation that families would find a way to opt out of our system, that we didn't make the necessary investments in facilities and teaching and teacher training so that families could be confident. I think that we see that turning, albeit slowly, but we do see it turning. I think that, Scott has already acknowledged that we have more work to do in making sure that all schools are training students and families who have special needs. And so I know Jenny, part of Jenny's work is making sure that we're doing better.
Was there anything different about accommodations with the new test for special ed students, or is it?
I'll ask Hansel
is
to
that
talk about that.
consistent?
Yes, because so many students tested online, there are actually additional levels of accommodations available to better support students with special needs. I think to the point of the earlier question, I think we have had we've made progress over the last several years in the district in better meeting the compliance requirements around special education, but we really now need to shift to a true focus on the outcomes for those students and supporting their instructional needs.
Okay, so thank you, everybody, for being here and for your questions. And I'll remain, if there are general questions from the press, I'll take them from here. But thank you very much.